You're welcome back. This is Newsfile. It's your most authoritative news analysis platform. And I'll share with you some of the messages that you have brought in. And I'm sorry, but I'll read only progressive messages. Forgive me. And it just reminds me that as a journalist between 2004, 2005, going to 2007, when we're covering the processes, I can assure you it's not everything we had to report. We had to be conscious of what to report and what not to report. It is the reason when I personally congratulate the Otumfuo and the other chiefs, I know what I'm talking about. Musa Abattoir says those who are desperately trying to make a pathetic political capital of Dagbon peace should be minded that they risk disintegration or integrating the kingdom. Eja Adam says the people of Ghana thank the committee of eminent chiefs chaired by the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei-Tutu II, together with the overlord of Mampurugu, the Nayiri, Na Buhogu, Abdullahi, Mahami, Sherega, and the overlord of the Gonja kingdom, the Yagbonwura, Tuntumba, Borisa, Sulemana, Jakpa, for working so hard and with such determination to bring peace to Dagbon. The President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has done tremendously well to stick to the laid down plan from the Committee of Eminent Chiefs. Ibrahim Kopa says a successful resolution of the Dagbon crisis and subsequent installation of a successful Yana marks a strong generational milestone in the trajectory of Dagbon development. The President and the three eminent chiefs deserve serious commendation from Ghanaians, regardless of their ethnic orientation. Adakwa Yeboah says, I am sorry. Okay, Zagaga is, okay, go forward. Let me take the next message. Right, so Ilyasu Tamale says, congrats to the Dagombas, the newly enskined Yana Otumfuo Committee and the President for this peace chat Dagbon has been ushered into. Let me, okay, you want to correct something. I do not have a previous reading of it, so I am unable to share. Once I'm unable to review what you wanted to correct, I won't be able to share it. Okay. Thank you very much. And it is worthy to acknowledge all the people, like Martin said, who have been behind this. Kandapa was with this committee from the very beginning because I think he was Interior or Defense at the time. You know, now Zongo Minister, who has now been moved to the presidency, used to be part of those who were all helping in the process. All right, so let's move from Dagbon and then get to the issue of the, do we do the murders or the kidnap? The kidnap. Okay. Let's talk about the kidnappings. There have been a number of kidnappings in a section of this country. And somehow news is emerging that this is not actually peculiar to that one particular area. So let's hear DCOP Redeemer Vincent Dejo, who is a police commander, Western Region. He has been talking about what he says have been meticulous efforts that they have taken in investigations of a complex nature, but Ghanaians don't seem to appreciate because they seem to be taking belated steps. And then James Agaga, who is here, will play his own words back to him and see whether he still stands by them in these circumstances. We'll hear the gender minister on the issue as well, and then Professor Ken Atefa say something about the developments.
This is not just an ordinary case being investigated. Normally, if you look at the international arena, kidnapping cases are done by professionals, people who actually know what they are about. So when you are investigating cases of that nature, you must be articulate. Go step by step. You don't rush. If you rush, you sidestep a lot of things, and you go to court, they can throw your case away. So it is important to take time. You know, the affected family, they will be thinking police is not doing anything. But you realize that everything police is doing doesn't mean that we should go into public domain or even to them and tell them that this is what we are doing. It is never done anywhere. But in our social setting, the best thing we can do is that maybe once in a while we visit them, reassure them. That is what I have been doing. I invited them here at least twice, just to reassure them that we are on top of what we want to assist. So we are doing our best for the rescue of these children. There are two other victims. That was in December, from 2nd December to 4th December to 21st December. The first lady, the university student, that was our main focus initially. And we were trying to get information to build on this. You'll be going somewhere and then things will truncate. Then you have to slow down and try to put the pieces together to move forward. So when the 4th December issue happened, it has given us another this thing to at least step up whatever we are doing together to put the pieces together. Missing person issue is different from when you come to kidnapping.
Okay.
In kidnapping, you don't know what has happened to the victim. You get me? You don't know whether they have gang rape her. You don't know whether she was subjected to a lot of sexual assault. You don't know whether she was subjected to inhuman treatment and all those things. Right. So immediately it is important for you to get some information before you begin to put her picture or their picture into the public domain. Mm-hmm. But if not, you are creating problem for psychological problems for them in the future.
If there is a repetition, a second kidnapping, a third kidnapping,
in this case, 7 of them.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Then the matter then ought to engage national attention. At that point, the committee necessarily would intervene. The committee wouldn't intervene when just one incident has happened, okay, and the police are investigating. You wouldn't expect the police to intervene. We wouldn't be talking about wouldn't be talking about contract killings,
yes,
if it was restricted to only one.
I get your point.
Absolutely.
But has your committee...
So there is no dereliction. There is no dereliction whatsoever on the part of the committee.
That can be proven in this case. Has the committee invited the Minister for Interior, the IGP, to come and tell you this matter?
Remember that the committee itself hasn't been active. 7 girls have been abducted. The committee will meet at an appropriate time to interrogate the security ministers. In doing so, you need to gather sufficient facts with which to confront the ministers.
This is a very sensitive thing, and because the girls have not been found, I don't want us to read a lot of meaning into it. We are closing up on the kidnappers. I don't know how fast it is, but as a parent, imagine that your daughter is out there and you don't know what is happening to her. It's heartbreaking. As a gender ministry, we have intelligence on the ground that the police are working on it. We are yet to go to Takoradi ourselves. I asked them to send the father's number. I'm going to talk to them. I've asked 2 of my staff to go to Takoradi, find out the parents, and then when I get back to Accra, I'm also going to go there. And if the kidnappers want to ransom or something, we'll find a way of identifying them. All we need is a girl. We don't want to go into details what we are trying to do on air because the children are still not with us. Then when the children get to us, all I can say is that we should be careful. We should let our young ladies, even our sons, the young boys, be careful where they go to, and then they should go in a company. Now the 7 girls, we don't know whether they were kidnapped together or they were kidnapped separately.
Most crimes are resolved because people provide information. Now we have the photographs out. The second point is the suspect who is reticent in giving information, there is no way you can force him. We have to be realistic. You cannot torture him. But when you have assembled such circumstantial evidence as would incline a court to find that he is connected to the case, then that's when you begin to go to court. And I think that is when the Attorney General's department actually properly comes in. Because at this point, what you want to be sure of is that you can link the suspect to an object which belongs to the victim.
Okay.
We call it the Carte Principle.
Okay.
Now, in investigation. So linking the suspect to an object that belongs to the victim is critical. And that has been established already in this case. It is not conclusive, but it is highly probative of the offense of kidnapping or abduction. And if this person is not found, and police after a while has reasonable basis to believe that she is dead, and there is a period for the presumption of death, then and only then can a murder charge be properly brought against this person. And I believe with the greatest of respect that it is probably at that point that the Attorney General's intervention or intervention or feedback becomes most critical.
Right. So, as you may have followed, JoyNews, the multimedia platform, started a massive campaign. If you see something, say something. Bring back our tardy girls. And so the photographs have been put out when they were, their names, when they were missing, and so on. All of us must help, because as we speak, they are still not found. Ruth Love Kwesing, 18 years, last seen the 4th of December 2018. He was kidnapped at a junction in Takoradi. Priscilla Koranchi, 18 years, last seen 31st December 2018. Also somewhere in Nkrofo, Takoradi. Then Priscilla Blessing Bentum, 21 years, last seen the 17th of August 2018, and was also picked somewhere in Takoradi. You, I think, are closer to this area as far as responsibility as an MP is concerned. The police is being blamed for having been lethargic. The inertia they have exhibited is not anything to be proud about, according to public criticism. Now they say they have done a lot, but they didn't have to put things out. Do you think the criticism of the police has been fair?
Well, to some extent, I think that the fact that the police first arrested the suspect, and for some strange reasons, the suspect found himself out of custody, escaped lawful custody, and had to be rearrested, creates that unfortunate negative impression. Therefore, if the public is questioning the professionalism of the police, same is justified. That notwithstanding,
is it justified? Part of their problem is that when he was rearrested and put before court, he was put before court on a charge of escape.
Yes,
they are thinking that if you put him in court, before court, you should be putting him in court, charging him with the kidnap.
Well, we'll come to that point. But I think that on the issue of the public opinion,
right,
the perception of the public regarding the conduct of the police, that is, I mean, the aspect where you would arrest a suspect and for strange reasons the person would escape from lawful custody. I think the police administration would have to investigate that matter, let the public know what steps they are taking on that particular matter. Now, on the issue of the charges the police would want to prefer. You see, when you go to court as prosecution, you would want to go to court on a matter that you think you have sufficient evidence or the ingredients to be able to secure conviction. So if the first point is to charge him for escaping lawful custody, that one does not mean that by charging him on that you wouldn't charge him for kidnapping. Perhaps they are still doing their investigation.
Right.
They've not finished their investigation. You know, if you are not careful, you go to court, you rush to court because you want to please the public. You would go and the court will say, look, issues of murder, some of these serious crimes, I would plead as a lawyer. Sometimes people don't like it when we strictly talk the way the law is. But I would always refer people to Apple J, as he then was, in the matter of Tagore, Issa Abbas, and the Republic. That court of Justice Apple preceded his judgment with a strong admonition. How we perceive crime. It's not about the perception. It's not about the public. This morning you said the court of public opinion. But looking out for the essential ingredients that will secure conviction. Simplicity. Now, you may lose an important evidence that will bring it down. I've won cases on appeal largely because there were loopholes. In criminal jurisprudence, I said it last time, I will repeat it, and I believe colleagues would agree with me. Form, procedure will take precedence over substance. If you miss, like a charge sheet, no independent witness, that charge sheet cannot get in. That statement, what do you call it? Caution statement, confession, or what, it won't get in.
Yeah.
It won't get in. Like Nyoma was used, and the Court of Appeal said, who was in the cocaine underworld, who came to say that Nyoma meant cocaine? That person should have been brought to give evidence and to be cross-examined. When we're talking about the technicalities of the law, of course, the public would not want to patronize that. I agree. But at the end of the day, these are the things that would give you justice. So to police, government at least has given you the necessary support to be able to do your work. I am sure that the national security, BNI, the other investigative bodies that support, if there is a need for additional resources to do further investigation, the state will not look unconcerned. This will be done.
Okay.
So the police would have to give assurances to us. I heard the regional commander talking about the new trend, their responsibility to the public. Communication, yes, I understand. We are not expecting you to give us the specifics, the specifics, how you are conducting your investigation. That one would also give somebody the lead to know how to, because somebody who has committed a crime will do it so intelligently.
Right.
So that aspect we are not expecting the police to do, but at least the information.
The commander also spoke about the kidnapper suspects having had some relationship with the victims. On the basis of that, how do you sort of advise generally?
Samson, you see, people are smart, and people rehearse before they take some of these steps. The motives are varied. And as Ghana is developing with the economic development, especially when it is happening in the Takoradi area, it is for us to even find out about the background of these young girls. Are they even using them to entrap others? Is it that they've checked their background and their parents have money? What is it? The motive is very important.
Or it's a matter of human trafficking?
That is also an issue. I understand one of them is a student of EUW. Blessing Benchum, my constituency. You know, so from August, she's not been in school. This is a very sad situation. If you have a daughter who is supposed to be in school and is not in school, and you don't know her whereabouts, it's disturbing.
Right.
So I would urge the police to do all they can to apprehend others in the ring, rescue the girls. It's happened in other jurisdictions. Efforts were made. Some successes were chalked. It's not an easy thing. It can be very complicated.
Right.
But they should be on top of it and also look out for some officers within their ranks. It's important.
Okay.
Because of the escape issue, the officers within their ranks who may even be leaking information to the very people, corporate there they are looking for.
Right. So, Martin, from what we are gathering, it does appear it's a sort of a growing phenomenon somewhere. Phenomenon. So, how should the police approach it and get the help of the public in this direction?
Okay. So, in terms of growing, Sam, starting from that angle, I'm not exactly sure how grown it is, because when you check when you check the files, okay, even online, you see that the police themselves have statistics that in 2013, of course, it's a kindred offense. There were 114 cases of abduction. And abduction is quite close to kidnapping. It's all about imprisoning somebody against a will and all that. Then it jumped to 120 in 2014. You see, so that is where the police statistics. So this particular year, looks like in this context, I haven't heard them release what they have for the year so far. So as to whether it's grown, I'm unable to answer. But
because whilst the official figure is giving us 3, we know there's an unofficial figure of 7.
Good. So, and I don't even get a sense that they are talking about the whole country. No.
No.
Exactly.
We're talking about Takoradi.
Exactly. So we should have the national figure, then we can put it in perspective. Because as I've said, 2013 we had 114, 2014 we had 120. Okay. So, but the other part of your question, what should we do? Even the police themselves led in the way in organizing a press conference where the IGP said that what we should do, of course, apart from the police taking steps to investigate their crimes diligently, they're also saying that as citizens, we should be more aware of ourselves, more aware of the environment. So that's how come the mantra, if you see something, say something. If you see something, say something, so that it would encourage us to, help the police. Because, from the way the system is, already their numbers are way down. We just have about half of what we require. So we would have to use the other measures of crime prevention effectively. So citizens have to help. I'm sure we all know of the stories that they will often tell you that if you see a white lady in the advanced countries sitting out on a porch reading and the rest, she has her eyes all over there. They listen, she would call the police.
Right.
But in Ghana, you can stand and you find a crime being committed and nothing of that sort is done. Then subsequently, before they say, oh, I saw him. Oh, I thought he had come into your house. Yeah, I suffered a personal one like that. My neighbor, somebody came to my house, parked in front of the door, okay, the gate, the main gate, went in and carried what he wanted to carry. My neighbors saw and said, oh, they thought that he had previously come to park the car there. So they thought he had come on a visit. Yeah, neighbors. You see, and there are several other stories. I'm sure even listeners can tell you about
that they will come to the police, but in court they will refuse to testify.
You see. So there's a whole issue of our attitude as Ghanaians, how conscious we are and all that. So it's good that the police have come back and are charging us that, look, if you see something, say something. It will help us. And also, we should remind government again, we know that our resources are limited. Yes, it's a known fact, but I think the police need to be resourced. They need to be resourced. Last year there was, in the budget, they had said they were giving them, about 800 million. I read an article that said the 800 million, not much of it was disbursed. So the police are there, they should speak for themselves. I know, and in this context, I'm happy that,
No, that was not let me correct it.
Yeah.
James and I are on the Defense and Interior Committee. We've been there, this is our 7th year, right? We reviewed their budget estimates in December. And that was not the impression. At the time they came, the figures, the releases were over 75%. So just for the records.
It's over 70 out of the 800 million.
No, whatever the figure, when the budget.
800 million was even outside the budget.
Okay. So that's the one that never got fulfilled.
So he's not far from right.
Yes. You make a promise publicly that you give 800 million.
Releases made from budget. But the 800 million was outside the budget.
Okay, no. You see,
let's
it was some contingency.
Council, when we are dealing with figures, appropriation, if we approve of an amount, you have to speak to that. You see, as to whether somebody who promised what to who. I mean, Parliament is a house of records.
Okay.
The appropriation, we approved a certain amount.
Right.
And I'm telling you that as of December, when we're looking at their estimate, their own report, they had received in excess of 75%.
Yes, but from
the figure 800 million, I don't know where it is coming from. No. What I'm saying is that there was a budget, all right? And the budget that we approved in 2016, 2017, and the 2018, if you are talking about releases...
So I'm not talking about that budget. I'm talking about the 800 million the president promised them. And that was made known. It was out in the public.
The two of you are not even speaking at cross purposes.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, so go ahead.
So we want to reinforce the point that
them
yes,
properly.
exactly. You see, they need to be retooled, modern equipment, all that. Because look, how many forensic labs do we have? You see, as a country, we are way behind. You see, and the capacity building, we need to invest more. We truly need to do that. Yes, as I said, I'm conscious of the fact that our resources are limited. Yes, we've always had scarce resources, but we certainly can do better. Because we have promised 800 million now, we don't know exactly what's happened to it. It's not the best.
Okay.
You say.
Now, briefly, what explanation can you help, Afenyo, give to those who were accusing them of taking the guy, Samuel Wilson, Udoting, the Nigerian, who is suspected of the kidnappings.
Yeah.
They say, okay, so you took him there on a charge which is a misdemeanor. He won't even get the maximum 3 years. Meanwhile, he has an offense kidnapping, which could take him up to 10 years. And you didn't do that. Can you explain to them, does it mean that once they took him there for escaping lawful custody, does it mean that they will not have, pursued him on the substantive issue?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, so when he first mentioned, I was looking at the principle of double jeopardy. It's in the Constitution and also it's in the Criminal Offences Act. So double jeopardy requires that at the time you are charging him with the first offense, that's in this case the escape from lawful custody, you must also be in a position to charge with the other offenses. But right now, as we said, the police don't have enough evidence to be able to charge for kidnapping and the rest. And maybe, we just pray that the worst hasn't happened. It could be something else.
Okay.
You see, even the police are mentioning it.
Right.
So it would appear that the principle of double jeopardy will not stop the police from subsequently charging him with kidnapping or any other offense.
And double jeopardy is explained to mean that you should not be tried and convicted on the same offense twice.
Yes, and most what your question required in this case is that not try the second time when you could have been tried the first time with that offense.
Okay.
So somebody, let's say, is going to rob, then he also rapes the victim.
Okay.
Then you decide to charge him with robbery. When you finish, then the police come back and say, we want to charge for rape.
Right.
No, double jeopardy would cut.
A man should not be vexed twice.
Yes.
Okay. So what the explanation is that there is no lost opportunity to deal with him on all of the things he's suspected of, if there's evidence to try him on them. Now, tell me. We see the police seem to get into action. But the complaint now is that until the women in Takoradi, not even until, even after they had done a march, a protest, to speak about these things and ask the police to, take some action, they didn't seem to bother. Until media took it up very strongly in Accra. Last week here on this show, Kofi Bento That for him was the most important thing to talk about. Until the media began to swamp the police, they didn't do the press conference that Martin is applauding them for doing, and to show what assistance they needed.
Well, first of all, as someone coming from the Western region and highly associated with Takoradi, my heart and sympathies goes to the families of Priscilla and Ruth. We can't wait to have them back.
Right.
Now, but back to the point you made, I mean, I think that's really underlines the kind of perception that we have in this country that until we demonstrate, nothing happens. You know, when the incident at the Medina Road kept occurring, people had to demonstrate for action. And there are countless situations where in Ghana, in our country, we have to, you know, there should be a kind of a club in code action before a government react. So I believe that that is the reason for the kind of a reaction that the lady was making, that you need to even torture the person and all that. I mean, obviously, if your sister or your brother has been kidnapped, you would want them to use every possible means, fair or foul, to bring it. That's a selfish, thing that, well, every human being would have. So, but of course, we will advise against that approach. It's illegal, it's unlawful, so we want to do that. But the other issue is whether the police have the capability and the logistics to undertake the assignment that they have. I mean, obviously, if you look at the global statistics on kidnapping, Ghana doesn't come in. I mean, we are just a drop. If you look at what obtains even in the US, in Germany, in Venezuela, in Colombia, and all those countries, you would think that in Ghana, kidnapping doesn't even occur. So it may appear as if the police have not been, in quote, practicing the act of finding out kidnapping. So they probably may be lacking the appropriate capacity to undertake these kinds of exercises.
Last week, Kofi Bento was asking that there are clear first steps, basic steps that they were expected to be taking. Yeah. You're dealing with a person who has made phone calls and taking money from families by calling them on phone. What Matanamidu did this week, we are told, people think it is new and that it's only the special prosecutor who goes to court and gets an order to get your call records. The police do it every day. Why is it that in this case, they don't take they would have the guy's phone as well. They don't take their phone, get the court order, get the telephone companies to be ordered to provide the telephony record of the people he has dealt with, which will give them the specific individuals he's been dealing with, the location that they are found in, and the times within which these communications may have transpired.
No, I totally agree with you. There's this inertia in the processes. If you come to ask of how long it takes for the court to give you what do these lawyers
they get it on the same day.
And I'm told that if the incident happened, I'm not defending the police here. Right. I'm just being realistic on what could have happened, what would have been lacking.
Yes, but it ought to be said that in those processes, you go to court through what we call ex parte, which you are familiar. You go alone without the other person knowing. And the judges would often, almost always, 99.99% grant it to you immediately.
Yeah. All right. So if that's the case, then I am sure the police could have acted even faster than they did. The other issue is how long it takes for the telephonic companies to provide you with the information that you have requested. Do they act
The order
promptly?
will say so. Do it within this time.
Okay. All right. So then of course you couldn't hold brief for the police at this stage. I think it is important that these girls are brought back by all means. So whatever it takes for the nation, whatever resources is required for the agency, the police, or whoever is working in that area to bring back the girls, that's what as Ghanaians, we
want results, simply as that. Yes, James, so you have also been talking about this. There was a bit of a blame that was being put on your committee for also not doing anything, having heard about this. You know, Kofi Bento was a one man and was so loud on this issue and got everybody to pay more attention, even though the JoyNews team had also been following this matter as well. So what should happen now? We want the girls back. Simple as that.
Yes, Samson, my preliminary views are that the growing incidence of kidnapping in our country is a reflection of the bad security situation we have on our hands. And for me, these developments are worrying because they sharply contradict manifesto promises made by this current president. I mean, if you reference the MPP manifesto, you would see how Ghanaians were promised that they would create a safe and secure environment for people to go about their businesses without any forms of intimidation and harassment coming from the quarters of criminals. Now, having said that, Martin took us through some crime statistics which suggests that yes, kidnappings are not new, but one needs to underscore the point that notwithstanding, it is an emerging security problem. An emerging security problem because I have been at the Ministry of the Interior. I was there for 4 years. We used to receive crime statistics, and I never came across crime statistics from the police on kidnappings. Why? Because they thought that that was not a very serious security issue that should engage the attention of the ministry. But that is not to say...
For a long time, we have escalated, you know, our alertness on human trafficking, and you have been aware of that. How different is that from this? It could be that it is human trafficking situation.
Well, yeah, I mean, the point is just to underscore how the area, that particular crime, its very nature appears to be an emerging one. And that is probably the reasons why our police security agencies are having a hard time dealing with this unfortunate development. Okay. But Samson, the point that needs to be made further, and you appeared before the Committee for Defense and Interior. You were very vociferous at that time in your criticisms against the interception of postal packets and telecommunications bill that we sought to introduce.
The spy bill.
At the time. Yeah, good. Now, today, that bill is as relevant as it was in 2016. You know why? And let me correct.
I pointed to your committee over a dozen laws presently existing that we can use to achieve the purpose you were seeking to do.
I would demonstrate how different that bill was in a jiffy.
Is a lack of enforcement of the laws.
You see, you talked about the special prosecutor going to court to ask for an order to, as it were,
get telephony records.
Some telephony records. Yes, he got the order all right, but you see, that is not preventive. Policing has so many aspects. You have the preventive aspect, you have the detection aspect, you have the reactive part of it. So after the commission of the crime, you want to go and retrieve records from the telephony companies. Yes, you can do that, but that is not preventive policing. As we speak now, I shouldn't be the one to make those disclosures here, but because this issue has assumed a national dimension, we need to educate ourselves a little bit. Our own security agencies deserve to have their own interception capabilities. They deserve to have those capabilities. Right now, I can tell you for a fact that there is no enabling legislative framework which would allow them to develop those capabilities.
But
I don't want to talk about other things.
The legal power to intercept already exists in various laws.
In scattered forms,
exactly.
In various laws.
In various
but I'm
laws.
saying that
it is the capacity that is not there.
I am saying
so why don't you focus on that?
No. None of those legislations provides a framework for the security agencies themselves to develop those capabilities.
Okay.
And so what you have now makes the security agencies over-reliant on telephone companies. But there is a real danger there. It's interesting days ahead. I wait to see whether MTN would be fully compliant with the orders the special prosecutor has obtained.
Okay.
Remember the Apple case in the US, because if they do, remember that they are into business. Won't that grossly undermine their business interest? So interesting days are ahead. I don't want to preempt.
But the spy bill, what happened?
I don't want to,
because you redrafted, you submitted a new one, which was supposed to be in compliance with the demands. So what happened to that one?
Something. When you introduce a bill before Parliament, and no mean a person than the opposition leader at the time, now President Akufo-Addo, calls a press conference and says, look, Ghanaians should not support the bill because it is a spy bill. It is meant to afford security agencies the opportunity to spy on the private conversations of citizens. Immediately, the minds of the public is prejudiced. That is where we are. My brother here has been a long-standing member of our committee. He knows at the committee level we're all unanimous that the security agencies needed to have those capabilities. Something you recall, the telecoms even had issues with some clauses in the bill which sought to impose the cost of interception on them. Is that not a bottleneck? Today, certain individuals are before courts for prosecution, and so I don't want to sound contemptuous, but they are facing the law because some attempts were made to develop certain capabilities of interception for the security agencies. So I don't want to blame the police much. The police clearly stated that they have been able to recover some records, call records, which shows that the accused or the suspect, Willis, had been dealing with the victims for a long time before they got kidnapped. That speaks volumes. That is the detection bit.
The point is,
but you see,
the point is, how fast was that? Was it not?
That presupposes.
Was it not trying to shut the stable doors after the horse was gone?
Absolutely, and that is why I am saying that that bill, which sought to afford the security agencies the opportunity to develop their own capabilities, was bastardized. Yeah. And so when we are talking about
your quick one in a minute,
in a second, actually.
You will also do so in just a minute, and then we'll take a break. We'll return to quickly deal with the issue of the murders in 15 minutes, and then we'll go to the mining deaths. 13 people died at the Shanjin mine in the Upper East region, and of course we know that Anglo Road Ashanti or Boise mine has also reopened. Yep.
Yeah, now what I was going to say is I just received a text message that says it takes more than a month to get the call log. Do we have a time period, and do these companies respond positively to court orders with regard to time periods?
Sometimes they delay.
Yes, so if it takes a month, and apparently in this case, the police actually acted on the basis of the call logs that they received. So it could also be the issue of the processing, which also goes to support the need for the police to be able to do some of that.
Right. Okay.
Hamzan, I think James got it wrong in his criticism of the then opposition leader, President Akufo-Addo. When the bill was first brought, the issue of monitoring was not too clear. We criticized them and said that, look, at least a court order must be procured. We finally came to a consensus that, okay, you can monitor 48 hours, but soon thereafter, procure a court order, experting, so that you can continue. So it shouldn't be said today. And I mean, sometimes, I expect counsel, he is a ranking member of the
What happened to the bill? That's the question.
No, hold on. I need to make the point. The president then, as the flag bearer, never came in to criticize you by stampeding the process. We had issues as minority on certain clauses. And we said, look, you can't just be monitoring. At least 48 hours, go to court and seek a confirmation. I mean, were we asking for too much? Is it not in line with the rule of law?
The ultimate. So what happened to the bail? You know that once your leader steps in and speaks,
no,
all of you will fall in line and you would resist it.
We passed the law. We passed the law. Those clauses were amended. I mean, the
you moved the new one that you put in Parliament.
Yes.
Was it passed?
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't
Wait.
passed.
Sadly, no.
Wait. You came in, the one that your man was, I don't
He withdrew the old one, yes, the first one, yes, and put the new one in,
your
which was where you had, put together
man, yes,
the concerns that have been brought together.
You are
no, I was the one who led
yes,
all right, so I can take a break here. I can take a break here. We return to briefly look at matters arising as regards the murders. And when we talk about the murders, the high-profile ones that have come up, of course, including Ahmed Swale, the undercover investigative journalist. The minority, led by James Agalga, has been pushing a certain angle. Martin Pebu disagree. We'll be right back.